I'm Dr. Gayatri. I'm a dermatologist at Sri Ramchandra Medical Center in Chennai, and I'm also practicing at my clinic at Old Washerman Pet in North Chennai. So thank you so much again for joining me at this time. So we will have a short and a quick session on what is acne primarily and what is acne due to. So over to a few pictures which I wanted to show on before I start the interview or before I start the program was acne. So what is acne? Acne is nothing but inflammation of the pilosebaceous unit. Now pilosebaceous unit is nothing but pilum means the hair follicle and sebaceous unit is the sebum. So the hair follicle is always attached to the sebaceous gland, and that is what causes the inflammation is what causes acne. So as you can see in the picture, we have few scoring systems. Okay, so you have the grade 1, which is comedones, in which occasionally there are papules. Then grade 2, which are just slight papules, which are just like red bumps over the face. Few comedones, which we say as the black and the white heads, and few pustules. Now pustules will be slightly painful as compared to the papules. Grade 3 is predominantly papules, which are inflammatory. Okay, they will be very painful. It will be slightly erythematous with slight amount of pus, which will be whitish, which will give a whitish to yellowish hue to the particular lesion, and associated with nodules and abscess. Then grade 4, which is mainly consisting of cysts and abscess, and that's what causes scarring. Now the pilosebaceous unit is basically present in the skin is divided into two, okay, the epidermis, dermis, and then the hypodermis. So the pilosebaceous unit is present in the central part, which is the mid-dermal level. Okay, so the inflammation of that particular part along with the fibrous tissue surrounding it basically constitutes the pilosebaceous unit inflammation causing acne. Okay, now so this picture shows a mild acne, which is very few papules and a few comedones. Okay, then the next picture shows about grade 3 acne with multiple pustules, nodules, and abscesses. And the grade 4, which really shows multiple nodules and abscess. You can see huge bumps over the face, and this is very important because this is what leads to pigmentation and scarring. Okay, so now in short, just about 5 minutes, just 5 minutes for the pathogenesis. So what I told you was the epidermis, then this is the mid-dermal layer, which is the hair follicle attached to the oil gland, which is a sebaceous gland. Now this is basically lined by squamous epithelium. So the microcomedone, see, the base of any process of acne is entirely hormonal. Hormones, the circulating androgens are the ones which basically instigate the entire process of inflammation of acne. So the microcomedone formation is because of the hyperkeratotic infundibulum. Then there is sebum secretion. Sebum is nothing but the oil which gets secreted in our face, which consists more of the cholesterol and the ester. So that, and then second step is the comedone formation, where there's accumulation and shed of the corneocytes, that is the lining the epithelium of the hair follicle as well as the sebaceous gland, and that becomes dilated, and then the sebum starts increasing, and the entire part of the fundibulum, which is the dilated infundibulum, the ostia gets dilated. Now when that starts getting dilated, sebum starts increasing, there's colonization of the bacteria, most importantly the Propionibacterium acnes. So there's proliferation of Propionibacterium acnes. Now this is very important because these release certain inflammatory cytokines and certain inflammatory molecules, which basically causes the inflammation, and what forms the becomes the pustule over our face. So the papule which becomes pustule is nothing but the entire process of inflammation along with the colonization of the bacteria. And after that there is a perifollicular inflammation, that is along the hair, that's just not with this, the entire unit gets into a sign of inflammation. And nowadays the newer theories are the inflammatory mediators also act upon certain toll-like receptors which are present over the cell surface of the sebaceous gland and cause further inflammation. Okay, so then there is increase in the triglycerides, decrease in certain other acids which is linoleic acid, and there is increase in the free fatty acids. So all of these also have also basically activate the PPAR receptor mechanism and cause further inflammation. Now this, along with the conglomeration of other hair follicles and sebaceous gland, becomes the nodule. So nodule is a conglomeration of pustules with marked perifollicular inflammation, and that basically over the time leads to scarring. The scars what we see, either the box scar, the rolling scar, or the ice pick scar, the scars in what we see in our face. Okay, so this was in short our the pathogenesis of acne. I would just like to basically make an underlying note that the hormones, the circulating androgens, form the basic part. So as and when you come to the clinic, okay, you see young, so I will start with the young age group to the older age group. So the youngest patients I have seen is about 12 to 13 years of age, even 11 years of age. So those people, because adolescence starts, no, males as well as females, so they come with acne. So treating them is a whole line of management altogether. Once you're 18 to around 30 years of age, the treatment again varies. Now, what is the most important aspect is two. If it's a male and if it's a female. So if first we will take a female into consideration. So if it's a female, first important history is to ask about any other symptoms she has, whether she has any menstrual irregularities, if she has hirsutism, you have to completely check her from top to bottom. Okay, you see mild signs of frontal the hair density decrease is a sign of hirsutism. You see hair over the jawlines and over the chin is a sign of hirsutism. Then you ask her for her menstrual irregularities, and if she has, then we have to rule out polycystic ovarian syndrome. So all this can be associated with acne. So all of this is like a vicious circle. Okay, so if one is not being corrected, then the others will not be corrected henceforth. Now afterwards, if everything is okay, then we need to check the BMI of the patient. If the patient is obese, again, why is obesity important? Is because obesity, there's a lot of inflammatory cytokines which are released, and that again causes increase in acne. So obesity also has to be taken into consideration. Now versus a male. See, for males, what happens is, what I have seen when I practice is, either the males have a mild type or they have the severe type. The moderate type is usually not seen in males, because excessively the males most of them are related only to a hormonal background. Okay, so the adolescent acne primarily hits on to the males. So that kind of, so we see the mild to the worst kind. So why we should treat for males and females or any part is so that, one, the pigmentation doesn't become a problem later for them. Second is, it is a part of the entire system, like PCOS, acne, hirsutism, pattern baldness, everything is like a cycle, and we have to treat in accordance with everything. And the third is scarring, because if we see, any stage of acne has to go from grade 1 to grade 4. Okay, you just cannot have a grade 4 acne. You first need to have the microcomedone formation, which becomes the macrocomedone, which becomes the papule, then becomes a pustule, then becomes a nodule and a cyst. So it starts from a minute pinpoint papule to a bigger pustule to a bigger nodule and a cyst. So the nodule and a cyst then undergo scarring, and then that's what becomes a scar and a pigment. Okay, so it has to start from 0 to 4. So if we start the patient's treatment from grade 0 to grade 1 and not allow it to go further, then it will definitely help us to control the acne to a certain level. I'm not saying you can never get acne again in your life, or this is a long-term problem, or so you don't have, no. You have to control it in a certain way and maintain it with therapies, so that you can not have such severity if you are prone to it. Okay, so now other things about what I wanted to mainly say was about the diets. Okay, so how is diet and acne being inside? So usually they say that refined carbs, okay, anything which is white in color, white bread, cheese, potatoes, macaronis, everything is best to avoid during that time when you have breakouts. Also certain dairy products, because dairy products contain milk contains estrogen, okay, and that any androgen is going to basically increase the sebaceous gland activity, increase the sebum production, and the pathogenesis is definitely going to continue. Okay, then chocolates, especially cocoa powder, also can have an additive effect, and excessively eating cheese and fried foods and anything. So what I would say is avoid anything which is uh, white, avoid refined carbs, dairy products, and chocolates, and obviously fast food, fried potatoes and fast foods and burgers and everything. Okay, now food which you could probably eat during acne breakouts, which, okay, so what kind of food is good for acne? Okay, so first important is fish. It's got a lot of omega-3 fatty acids. It's very rich in omega-3 fatty acids, and especially salmon and sardine, along with flax seeds, walnuts, and chia seeds. See, chia seeds are in now. Okay, they are apparently also being used as part for the, for the obesity management and hence weight loss. Walnuts are excellent, and flaxseed also, it basically decreases the it improves the gut motility and also the fiber content of the gut, and hence you don't tend to it also decreases obesity, hence inflammation, and hence decreases acne. So the non-dairy products which are useful for acne would be soy in form of soy milk, almond based milk. So almonds per se, 6 to 8 almonds in the morning and 6 to 8 almonds in the night are excellent. Other than that, almond based milk. Now why? Because they're extremely high in zinc, which is very good. Okay, then you have you have milks which are fortified along with calcium and vitamin D. Again, they're a good source. Then antioxidants, any of the antioxidants, rich fruits and vegetables. I'm not going to name all because there are a lot of fruits and vegetables which are rich in antioxidants. That, and last is probiotics. Yes, yogurt is a very good rich, so it's good for acne breakouts. Okay, now a small thing is so I got a question, what normal measures to take as precautions for acne. So the precautions for acne, as I said, was if suppose you're at home and you're having a few breakouts, okay, you start checking out on your diet. Okay, so what kind of diet am I eating, and as I told you, what are the good products, what are the not so great products for eating acne. But certain home remedies for acne would be that you could simply, okay, you could write this down also. You could do a combination. You can just take, if you have a little bit of dry skin, you can take a bit of honey, okay, mixed with basin, a little bit of rose water, and curd. Curd contains lactic acid, so it is like a home peel. See, what we do is we tell patients to do a lot of peels. We give a lot of therapeutic peels we do in the clinic. So at home you could just take a mixture of curd, rose water, honey, and basin, and add half a teaspoon of lemon to it, which contains citric acid, and just keep it onto the face for about an hour and then wash. So that becomes a good home remedy. Other than that, suppose you have a lot of breakouts of acne, simple turmeric, okay, cinnamon, okay, and honey. Just make it as a small paste and apply it over the acne for about 2 to 3 hours, and it'll subside. See, eventually you do have to go to a doctor and get yourself evaluated primarily, but these are some home remedies which I feel you can just start on and get away with. Now, how do we reduce blackheads? Blackheads is the first step of acne, right? Which is the white and the there's blackheads and there's whiteheads. So the ones which are oxidized become the blackheads. So the best thing for it is to be using a retinoid based cream which is available. It is tretinoin, the retinoid based creams, and you have good face washes. Okay, you have salicylic acid and glycolic acid washes which you shouldn't overuse. You just have to use it twice in a day. So a good acne wash and tretinoin gel, which is 0.025% at night, works very well for blackheads. And the last is you have to come and get it extracted, which is the best thing to do. Okay, and I have scars to my face. What to do with the scars, I think we'll take it later, because that's an entire different thing to do, because we have different types of methods for it. We have a simple derma roller, to using a fractional CO2, to using pigmentation, to using some sort of micro needling procedures, which are the best. So there are many procedures for acne scars, but for scars primarily not much of a topical will work, because a scar is something which is deep down, it's below the dermis, so I mean it's at the dermal level, so you need to do a procedure if you really want to get it back to normal. You need to repair the collagen, so for that it takes time. I have black patches on my face. What should I do? Okay, black patches on the face could be a post-acne pigmentation, or it could also be associated with little amount of seborrhea, which also usually colonizes Malassezia, which is a fungus. So what I would advise you is please wash your face with an antifungal soap, whichever is available. You have a variety of antifungal soap, so please use that. Please use a good please wash your hair weekly 3 times in a week. Please wash your hair every day if possible. If not every day, but at least wash your hair weekly thrice in a week. Okay, good amount of hair washes you can have. You have ketoconazole based shampoos. You have normal shampoos with ZPTO, which just rinse in your hair for about 5 to 10 minutes over your scalp, or not hair doesn't make sense, over your scalp for at least about 5 minutes, and wash weekly thrice is much more than enough. It will do really good. And if the black patches, you can use a combination. You can use an antifungal and a mild steroid combination, and that will work really well. Okay, and avoid hair dye. If you have a plan, or if you generally use hair dyes, please do not use hair dyes. Then okay, so there was one more question about what are the other treatment modalities for acne. The treatment modalities for acne would be retinoids, antibiotics, benzoyl peroxide, oral isotretinoin, and hormonal therapy. Hormonal therapy is usually for acne, which is in the lower part of the face, which is over the inverted T-zone. So you have the upper T-zone and you have the lower T-zone. For the inverted T-zone is what we use, so we can use the hormonal the hormones. But other than that, the best drug for acne is isotretinoin, because of all the 4 stages. It nicks all the 4 stages of acne. So it reduces sebum production, normalizes the follicular desquamation, it reduces the P acnes, reduces the inflammation also. Antibiotics, yes, in the 3rd stage pustular acne, to reduce microorganisms, also the inflammatory response to the microorganisms. And retinoids, yes, a grade 1 acne, retinoids is the drug of choice. You cannot use any other antibiotic or a benzoyl peroxide and help it to work for grade 1 acne. It is a topical retinoid which normalizes the follicular epithelium and reduces inflammatory response. Hormone, and there you need to see what the problem for the patient is. Is it hormonal or is it not? So first we evaluate and then start the treatment. Okay, okay, for hair serum, hair is not something which you think. Okay, to apply aloe vera on the face directly from the plant, no, exactly not, but aloe vera along with a bit of lemon, cucumber and rose water becomes a good toner for the face. So if you just want to use it as a toner, so if it's like a home remedy, you can take a bit of aloe vera, then mix a bit of cucumber, a pinch of lemon and rose water. You can just put it in a container and put a spray, and then spray it on your face and use it as a toner, and just wash it within 1 or 2 hours. I think it should be fine. But there are a lot of aloe vera based gels. But if you are again prone to an inflammatory acne, I would say to avoid. This is primarily best for a dry skin. Okay, so that way. Then with which sunscreen to use best for acne prone skin will be a gel based sunscreen, because now it's the summer, so any cream based sunscreen might wear off very easily. So gel based sunscreen is the best. We usually advise it for all the swimmers, people who exercise a lot, people who work out in the gym more. So a gel based sunscreen works well. And now all the gel based sunscreens have more photo stability. They have an 8-hour action, so it is not that usually the earlier ones would have 2 hours. So every time you would use a sunscreen, the photo stability was an issue where you had to like immediately wash your face after 2 hours and then get back and again reapply the sunscreen. This works entirely for 8 hours. So a gel based sunscreen would be ideal. It's non-comedogenic, and it's best for during the summers. Does isotretinoin remove acne scars? Now, isotretinoin is it prevents acne to form scarring, the cystic acne to form scarring, but yes, a little amount of scars it does reduce in the entire process in a way that it doesn't lead to the scar in the first place. Okay, other than that, it is definitely given as a part of treatment when people treat people for acne scars. Suppose I'm doing a microneedling procedure on a patient, so I do put them on a 20 mg weekly dose, bi-weekly dose, and then start the procedure. If you're doing a peel, then we tell them to avoid isotretinoin 3 to 4 days prior to doing the peel and then do the peel. But for everything, isotretinoin is the wonder drug. But only thing is, ladies in the reproductive age group, be cautious, avoid 3 months before pregnancy. That's the rule. 16-year-old developing pores and cheeks near grow beard, what can be done? Yeah, so that's what the pores and the cheeks could be an early form of acne. He's 16 years old, he is getting big, he is getting into he is entering into the exact phase of the adolescence, so that is an early stage of acne. So what would prevent was, you could use acne washes. Okay, mild acne washes are available. You use it twice daily. Wash your face regularly, hydrate yourself well, and in case 1 or 2 pop out, you can always use a mild cream. You don't have to start using effective antibiotics. So just can start with the face washes first. I have PIH on my face, which cream should I use? So for PIH, you have a ton of creams, you have a lot of depigmenting agents, the list goes on and on. That we'll do it in some other session. But for PIH, the main thing is you have to use a sunscreen before using any cream, because you need to retain the normal texture and the skin of your your color first. Then you could probably decrease the pigmentation and the melanin. So first you use a good sunscreen, and then you can, there's a ton of, and it depends upon the type, so many depigmenting agents. That thing, it's better when we see it and then tell you. So that would have been helpful. Okay, so now a bit about the hormones and the obesity hormones. And so in the females, it's one of my favorite thing to address would be, so when a young girl of 18 years comes to me and says I have acne, and she's got maybe a grade 2 to 3 acne, and she is on the obese side, and she says that her menstrual cycle is not very regular. So that's when I really counsel them that you need to work very hard on your diet. You need to make a chart on what to eat, what not to eat, exercise regularly, please have your lifestyle modification, please go for regular walks. You have to regularize your menstrual cycles, because if that doesn't get regularized, then this is not going to work at all. So you have to regularize your menstrual cycle, and then we will treat the acne accordingly, and then we'll give a ton of investigations. Now see, if the acne is predominantly in the T-zone, that is in the forehead as well as unto here, then it's easier to treat with isotretinoin, or it's easier to treat with a combination of antibiotics, azithromycin and clindamycin, whole lot of antibiotics in pulse doses. But if the acne is predominantly over the jawline, which is called as acne tarda, it becomes very difficult, because that is hormonal induced more so ever. Everything is base is the hormones, but this is entirely hormonal acne, so you need to regularize. So that's when the OC pills will come into the picture, where we need to start the patient on day 5 medications until day 27. So 21 days, they give them a gap, and then they get their menstrual cycle for 5 days, and then start the cycle again. So minimum for 3 to 4 months we need to give the medication. So that becomes a bit of a challenge, and along with this we need to give certain good amounts of zinc and good amount of antioxidants to work on. So once the cycle is regularized, then the acne will improve. And how to control graying of hair? Graying of hair is premature keratitis. It's something which is inborn, so we cannot control it beyond about 10 years of age. After 10 years of age, we generally have to calcium pantothenate, higher doses, about 200 mg works well, so we give BD dose. Then you have a combination gels which work well in the night, but what we say primarily is after 10 years, okay, it is entirely genetic, so it doesn't really, we can't really get back the original color. But what we could do is, we have certain dyes, we have certain gels which can prevent the action of the enzyme and hence decrease it. But what is existing has to be gotten done with using certain amount of other hair colors only. Pizza or anything which is any sort of carbs, refined carbs, everything has got a bit of increased amounts of triglycerides, which basically causes increase in sebum production, which can cause, it is not that the oil inside is going to be extruded out, but all these do increase the sebum production, and hence anything which has a high glycemic index does cause increase in acne by increasing the the sebum production. So yes. And does silicone based sunscreen help in acne treatment? Yes, it does, but it depends. Dry skin better, not a very oily skin. Good moisturizer for acne prone skin is, you want the brand names, could be Acne Moist, Face Moist. There are many acne based moisturizers which are very good. How to reduce wrinkles? Wrinkles is use good sunscreen. Sunscreen is the main thing. Whichever sunscreen you like, SPF 30 until 50 for Indian skin works very well. 30 works as equal as 50. Please use a good sunscreen. Use retinol based creams at night. So what's the main thing is, anything which contains hyaluronic acid, anything which contains vitamin C, and anything which contains retinol, all three combination acts very very well for an aging skin. So any cream which containing vitamin C, or a vitamin C serum, or retinoic acid, as well as a hyaluronic acid, you get a lot of combinations. I'm sure your dermatologist will give you a good cream that you use, can definitely reduce wrinkles and photo aging. And the thing in for wrinkles for otherwise is the Botox, and that again would be dealt with later and explained to you in detail from your doctor. So that kind of works the best. Then, so a good moisturizer at home for acne would be what the combination I gave you. You could take a bit of basin, a bit of then honey, which is an excellent repairing mechanism, which has rose water, curd, and half a teaspoon of lemon. Okay, I'm a big fan of curd. I think curd is an excellent peel which works very very well at home. So a combination of this with the paste for about 20 to 30 minutes works wonders. Okay, and one more important thing is, wash your hair regularly. This once a week hair wash doesn't really make sense, because you wash your face, you use acne washes, you use glycolic acid washes, you use salicylic acid washes, you use any sort of any sort of sunscreens, a lot of creams and all that, but we do not wash our hair regularly. You need to wash your hair very very regularly. At least alternate days you must wash your hair. Anyways, to reduce dry skin, so what I told you was this. So what I gave you was cucumber with tea tree oil. A bit of cucumber with tea tree oil is excellent comedolitic, and also retains a lot of moisture. Okay, so cucumber with tea tree oil does help a lot. Okay, and again I told you, for inflammatory acne, something which a home remedy, like for home, you could take a bit of turmeric with cinnamon and honey, and mix all the three. Okay, make it into a paste. Just apply it for 3 hours and wash. Of course, turmeric has got antiseptic properties, and honey is very good for repairing mechanism. Otherwise, antioxidants work really well also, because the inflammation, all the inflammatory products which are released during the process, during the pathogenesis of acne, is being cleared off by these antioxidants. They are superoxide radicals and many molecules. So antioxidants play a major part. All the fruits and vegetables do play a major part, and also zinc, I think, again. And the latest nowadays is kiwi seed extracts. Kiwi seed extracts also are known to have an excellent antioxidant property. Okay, so while splashing the face with cold water shrinks the pores, it doesn't really matter it's lukewarm water or it's hot or cold water. That doesn't, because see, primarily what happens is the pores which are there, no, through which the oil comes out, which everybody has, that should not get blocked from inside. If it gets blocked from the outside, is why we say that you please wash your face, so that the pores are being automatically, they're being just disgraded, and they're just being degraded, and then it falls off. Okay, so that is why we say please wash your face 2 to 3 times in a day, gentle. Not that you rub your face and you get everything out. No, that doesn't work. Something which is seen outside is basically, a lot of it is happening inside. It's like a tip of an iceberg. So what you see on the outside is just a part. So you just cannot remove the tip and then think that there is nothing down. No, you need to take down as a whole. That's when an topical cream, a good face wash, then below you need to take an oral antibiotic if it's a moderate acne, mild to moderate, a pulse dose. Then if it becomes severe, because grade 3 and grade 4, you feel it's getting into scar, you start the wonder drug, which is isotretinoin, and then you maintain it for 6 months. After all this, if it's not, and then the topical cream combination could be clindamycin, benzoyl peroxide. Benzoyl peroxide is an antimicrobial agent. Clindamycin acts against against all the other bacteria, and a topical retinoid. You have combinations with clindamycin and a retinoid, and you have combination with benzoyl peroxide and retinoid. So this is the basic. Beyond this, if it goes on to a resistant acne, and if it goes on to a cystic acne, then once it settles and if it becomes a scar, then we need to treat it separately altogether, and that's a whole huge topic. Then more vitamin A rich food should be taken during acne. Yes, along with retinoids. Oh, that's a very very good question actually. I think along with retinoids, you may not, like, see, the fish, vitamin A as such, don't take vitamin A capsules. See, fish contains omega-3 fatty acids. It is a rich source of vitamin A also, but more so ever omega-3 fatty acids. So that becomes a major part. Okay, and it's not that you're going to eat fish from morning, afternoon, night. So don't take oral vitamin A as well as isotretinoin, because they both are the same derivatives. You can eat fish considering they have omega-3 fatty acids. Not, they also have a source of vitamin A, but not as much as the tablets, which the content which it gives. Yeah, so for acne prone skin, that's what. No, so you have acne prone skin, you have salicylic acid, you have glycolic, and you have mantelic acid based face washes. See, for inflammatory acne, the best peel or the best thing is salicylic acid. Nothing works better than that. For pigmentation, it's the TCA. Okay, and otherwise, just for normal other pigmentation which is so stubborn, it is TCA. For normal, it's glycolic. So you have certain face washes which contain both combination, which work very very well. Okay, do eating chocolates trigger? Yes, chocolates, cocoa powder, as I said before, does trigger acne. It definitely does. It increases the glycemic index, which basically increases the circulating androgens, hence causing the main pathogenesis. So obviously it increases. Even milk also contains hormones, estrogens, which basically cause increase in the circulating androgens. It is a circulating androgen, and then it causes acne. And so there was one more question about what type of about washing hair. So washing hair is, you can use, as I said, you can use ketoconazole based shampoos. So if you're having severe dandruff, then you use ketoconazole and salicylic acid combination shampoos. Okay, so that kind of removes the scales a lot. And then you also have a combination, you have a topical a steroid with a salicylic acid combination, so which you can apply overnight and then wash it in the morning. See, the main thing for dandruff, or the main remedy for dandruff, would be wash your hair regularly. You must wash your hair regularly. If you do not wash your hair regularly, then all sorts of, see, if you want the face to glow and be good, you need to wash your face regularly. In the same way, hair is an important thing. You must wash your hair very regularly. What else is there? And so then one more thing which I wanted to really concentrate on was the factors which basically cause acne. So the factors which causes was I told you was PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome, and hirsutism. So polycystic ovarian syndrome is the history the patient will come with: I don't have regular periods. Regular means, it doesn't mean that timing here and there is okay. Usually you have to get an ultrasound done, and then once the ultrasound, if they recognize to have polycystic ovaries, then accordingly they need to go to a gynecologist and then get treated accordingly for that. The next is hirsutism is a presence of hair in a male type over in a female having special hair patterns in a male region. Like, say, they have hair over the chin, they have hair over the cheeks, then they'll have slight amount of the density of hair being low in the center as compared to the other areas. Okay, so those are signs of hirsutism, and there are many grades to it. Second is going to be adolescence, male and female, which I spoke to you about in detail. Then obesity, again inflammation, foods with high glycemic index, milk, smoking. Now smoking is very important because that again causes a lot of acne, and systemic disorders like Cushing syndrome and androgenetic secreting tumors. So that also something is which we need to see. Okay, now one more question is, what I have sensitive skin, can I use a toner? Yeah, sure, you can use. I just said, that's what I said. I said a homemade toner, a home based toner is cucumber half teaspoon, lemon half teaspoon, and rose water 1 teaspoon. You mix all the three, and then you can put it in one bottle and then just spray. You can use it as a toner at home if you don't have a toner. And what about dark circles? Now dark circles is something which is which occurs hereditary. Okay, so you need to see if your mom, your grandmom, everybody has. Now dark circle is a little difficult to treat in terms of, because there's loss of subcutaneous fat here. Okay, so anything which has a subcutaneous fat down is easier, but loss, so any creams which we have, they'll basically are roll-on creams. You have niacinamide based gels as well, vitamin K, niacinamide. But dark spots, we need to check if it is not any other, like periorbital melanosis. There's it's a whole different topic, whether it is a dark circle or not, whether it is acanthosis nigricans, there is some other problem we need to check. But if it's just pigmentation, then you have other procedures which are given for under eye rejuvenation, fillers, and a lot of other procedures are there. Roll-on gels for pigmentations are there, so that will be given. Yeah, for black dots, again, that's what I said. So important thing of acne, two things why we are treating acne is for the spots and for scarring, SNS. So for spots, which is the pigmentation, you need to first not allow it to cause pigmentation. So that's why we entirely treating it. But once the pigmentation sets in, you have to use a sunscreen, you have to use certain creams which have combination. That's what I said. You have licorice extract, you have shea butter, you have niacinamide, you have tons of demelanizing agents which we can apply. The best thing is to do a chemical peel, or to give retinoids. Retinoids decrease seborrhea and hence decrease the pigmentation also. So topical retinoid also works for pigmentation. So we can see that the extent of the pigmentation as to why it is, that has to be evaluated. But along with this, a lot of demelanizing creams and retinoid alternate works best for pigmentation, for spots, for acne. What's the best way to exfoliate? You do exfoliation, yeah, you can come and get peels done. A peel, chemical peel, is basically putting a certain amount of gel to a certain depth of the face, which is the mild, moderate, and the severe, which is over the epidermis and the dermis and the deep dermis. So we have certain strengths. So we have glycolic acid, which is all derived from sugarcane, all derived from many other products, food products only. So you have glycolic acid, then you have salicylic acid, then you have mandelic acid, retinoic acid, then you have a combination of all of peels. So those basically what they do is they cause collagen remodeling. So what they do is they remove the plugs from the superficial layers of the skin, which is a superficial peel. A deeper peel, basically it goes up to that depth and modifies the collagen. So superficial peels are the best ways to exfoliate. And how to prevent hair loss is not exactly our topic now, so that I'll be doing it in the next sessions. So another way to exfoliate is if you have you could use a mild you could just, if you're using scrubbers, don't use excessively. Okay, just use like very very mild for just a little contact time and then just wash. Okay, so Lotus Professional Night Cream. See, the problem is there are many night creams outside. I personally haven't tried this one, so I wouldn't say whether it is right or wrong, but I would say that you could just ask your doctor for giving you a good sunscreen and a good night cream, and if it suits you best, use that. Okay, so maybe it's good, but there are a whole lot of creams in the same cost which are very effective, so you could just once go to them and then maintain and then go back later also. Okay, so I probably wouldn't know much about it. Now hair fall is related to acne would be anything related with a little bit of low density with associated with PCOS or hirsutism, which I said which will be dealt later. How can I remove dead skin cells from my face? So just some home remedies. Yeah, okay, so that's what I said. So what you do is you have to use a good acne based soap. Okay, then that's what I said, a good combination of honey. Please write it down in, if Vaidehi, please write it down. Honey, rose water, mix it with rose water, basin, then curd, and then half a teaspoon of lemon. Okay, mix it, apply it for about half an hour and wash. That is excellent. If you have a lot of acne, inflammatory acne, then a combination of cinnamon, a bit of honey, and turmeric just for about 2 to 3 hours, and then it just inflammation goes down. Okay. And then the toner I had told you was lemon, rose water, and cucumber again. You can make it into a bottle and then spray it out. Okay. And cucumber is an excellent moisturizer also. Tea tree oil also is an excellent comedolatic agent. So anything which contains tea tree oil also, you can use it. You can buy those oil, moisturize your face a bit, and then wash. See, anything you should wash after 2 to 3 hours, because the stability of any of the molecules is between 2 to 3 hours, except the sunscreen. Sunscreens now they are more photostable. They're coming up to 8 hours, but most of them are between 2 to 3 hours only. Okay, and then I wanted to really again concentrate on the acne breakout treatment. Okay, so what to eat, what not to eat. Okay, so what to eat is fish. Okay, fish contains omega-3 fatty acids with salmon and sardine. The salmon and sardine is the best type of fish which can be used. Then flaxseed, walnuts, and chia seeds. Okay, so the non-dairy treatment which will be used is almond based milks. Okay, almond based milks, soy based milks, which contain high amount of zinc. This contains high amounts of zinc. Okay, and they're fortified with calcium and fortified with vitamin D. Then you have antioxidants again with a lot of fruits and vegetables which are rich in antioxidants, and probiotics. Okay, like yogurt. So these are the foods which one must eat. Okay, for aid during acne breakouts. So to avoid acne breakouts, to avoid open pores, to avoid refined carbs, avoid white bread, okay, macaroni, cheese, potatoes, anything white you should avoid. Wash your face well with a salicylic and a glycolic acid mix combination acne face washes. Okay, then don't binge on carbohydrates, which is a lot of chocolates and heavy heavy kind of foods containing fried foods and chocolates and cocoa powder and all the dairy products usually have a lot of estrogen and proteins, which increase the insulin like growth factors and which basically increase the glycemia, and then that basically causes increase in the circulating androgens, which are the main part in the pathogenesis of acne. So please avoid all these kind of foods. Okay, now the coming more to the treatment aspect. So the topical retinoids, what I wanted to tell you all is the retinoids is you have adapalene. Okay, so topical adapalene, tretinoin, so these are all the options which are available. Then antibiotics is going to be oral and systemic. Oral is you have azithromycin, which works very well as an anti-inflammatory agent. Clindamycin again. These two work well, and these two can be done, then can be given in pulses, 500 mg 3 times a day, a week for about 3 to 4 weeks. Same with clindamycin. Then we also give topical. We can give topical clindamycin and topical azithromycin is also available. Now dapsone. Dapsone is also a good agent, especially during pregnancy. So dapsone can be given during pregnancy, topical dapsone, as well as sulfur. Benzoyl peroxide can be given in alternate to the topical tretinoin, or nowadays there's a combination of adapalene and benzoyl peroxide together also. Now for oily skin, again oily skin, which sunscreen is the best is a gel based sunscreen. I would say for an oily skin also a gel based sunscreen is best, or this thing you can have sunscreen with a matte finish also. So the photostable gold cream or the other creams which have a matte finish, they also work well. Okay, so the sunscreen with that also work equally well. Now see, the other part of the treatment was oral isotretinoin. Oral isotretinoin, it basically nicks all the 4 stages. It shrinks the sebum, it basically decreases the oil production, normalizes the epithelium, and decreases the inflammation related by the caused by the microorganisms. So all the 4 stages of acne, it's being it nicks. And hormonal acne I spoke about. Okay, how to cure about under eyes, I already spoke about. Okay, so one person has got an oily skin, and which sunscreen to use? See, that's what I'm saying. So there is no good and bad sunscreen. All sunscreens work really well. Okay, but what happens is there are certain conditions where certain types of conditions where only in certain conditions you can use gel or cream. Otherwise, if you have an oily skin, you're comfortable with a cream based sunscreen, that's okay. If you have a dry skin, you're comfortable with a gel based sunscreen, that's okay. Again, see, that doesn't matter. You have to be comfortable with whichever cream you use. In conditions, yes, if you're swimming, you are exercising, or if you are if you want something over light makeup, yeah, then that kind of changes. So if you're using a good makeup, then a matte kind of sunscreen works well. If you're going for swimming, you a person who exercises, then a gel based sunscreen, the water gel based sunscreen uses is better. And if you are but other than that, dry and oily skin, it really doesn't matter. That the make of the sunscreen doesn't change with the oil or the dry type. Okay, one person asked me about using makeup and the earlier questions. So should I stop wearing makeup and if I have acne? The point is, see, wearing makeup, a concealer, yeah, it does clog the pores. So anything which you apply basically clogs the pores and doesn't allow the skin to breathe, or doesn't allow, is basically a passage for not allowing the oil to sort of come outside. So what we should do is, if you're wearing first you use a primer, then you use a concealer, and then you use the makeup, works better. One. Second is you use a gel based sunscreen, and then on top of it you can use a concealer, a mild concealer only in certain areas, and then you can use a powder. Otherwise, simple, if you don't want to use a concealer and you feel that you get acne breakouts, just use a primer or use a sunscreen and directly go in for the powder. That's the best way. That's very easy. And you don't have to wear, I don't have to stop wearing. So today what I did was I just wore my sunscreen, and I just dap it with a little bit of powder, and that's about it. I don't believe in using concealers at all. But if you're going in for a major activity and you really need, like, say, need a bridal makeup, then yeah, for some time it can be used. But on a daily basis, I would just say go for a primer or a sunscreen, and just apply the powder and just walk out. Then you'll be all fine. And I think the sessions were very helpful for everybody, and for all the questions, because the point was, it was a very restricted topic only related to acne. And so I spoke about what causes acne, what's the background of acne, what ages acne occurs. And one more thing I wanted to say is, acne can occur at any age, it can occur at any time. Okay, stress and acne was something which I think I left, which I wanted to say was, stress is a state where there's a lot of inflammation in the body. So this acne is also based on inflammation. So if anything increases inflammation in the body, increases inflammation causes acne. So if you are stressed, if you are having some physical stress, mental stress, any kind of stress, there's an inflammatory response in the body. There's increase in the inflammation, which again causes inflammatory response in the on the surfaces of the skin. The cytokines basically activate certain other cytokines which are present over the cell surface of the sebaceous gland and cause and further worsen acne. So stress also. Diet, I spoke about what to eat, what not to eat. I spoke about the hormone associated issues, which was obesity and acne. And then I spoke about just about the treatment options, which was a topical, and then antibiotics, which is topical and systemic, and oral isotretinoin, and the hormonal therapy, and just a bit of peels. But we didn't get in much into the acne surgical aspect or anything of that sort, and a little about how to kind of have a daily regimen using home remedies, and also how to maintain your general self. I think it was very useful for everybody. Thank you very much. I know this is the COVID time. Please stay safe at home. I hope this was useful, and you can put in your queries, and you can put in your, if you want another session on hair and anything else to be done, you can just put that in as well, and I'm planning to do a few more later. Thank you very, very much. And the last question is, how do I control acne during summer season? So in summer seasons, actually the acne decreases, because the body doesn't try to combat itself by in winter times seborrhea increases because the oiliness decreases. So in winter times your acne will exacerbate, summer it will decrease. But to control it, that's what I said, acne based face washes, do the home remedies which I told you, wash your face regularly, check on your hormones, on your diet, and basically your lifestyle. Yeah, sure. So you can always put in your queries here and I will get back to you. Thank you very much, and it was a wonderful session, and thank you so much. Please people, stay safe, and please visit Beautiful Spotless Skin, and then I will definitely answer the queries here too. And on my Facebook page, you can always just message me on Messenger, or you can follow me on Instagram as Gaya Rajesh. It's Gaya, GAYA RAJESH, Gaya Rajesh. I'll add you on my Instagram page, and my normal Facebook page is Gayatri Rajesh. So you can just add your queries in my Messenger. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Bye. Yeah.